Texas Senator Ted Cruz is a Republican and our guest tonight. Senator, good to see you. What's it like to be the most hated man in America?
Hi, you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. Congratulations. Holy moly. Number
so
170 countries. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, thank
You're
you
having
so
a good day today.
I am, besides the fact that I'm catching pneumonia in your studio right now.
It's very cold, but you have to wear clothes when you come on here. That's how you
I
make it warmer.
asked if I could bring a blanket, and they looked at me like I was crazy, but I was ready to sit there
Probably
and
get you a blanket.
do the interview.
Cozy up.
Next, news, entertainment, etc. Tonight with Jonathan D. Sangster.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Next. I'm Jonathan D. Sangster, and our producer Taylor is with us tonight.
Yo and hello.
Who's really excited because he gets on vacation for a week in a couple hours.
Yes. Cannot come soon enough.
It's like that yes seemed so thrilled.
It cannot come soon enough. People have no idea that I have been looking forward for this vacation immensely.
And yet your plan, you have such big plans for it too.
Absolutely nothing.
Just hiding.
Absolutely nothing, except for probably going to the. Except for probably going to the Dallas Arboretum at least one day, and outside of that, I don't know. Probably trying to pay attention to pay attention to some Calder Cup hockey.
Some Calder Cup.
Yes, because the Texas Stars are in the Calder Cup, and they are
as
leading
opposed
in
to the
game
Dallas
one,
Stars.
4-1 right now.
There we go.
Unlike the other series that's going on that we won't talk about because I really don't care.
That you won't talk about anyways. Just go Kings.
Yes, you will talk about it as much as you want to, and that's perfectly fine. I understand completely.
No,
I
I don't know.
would be
That was a
excited.
good game the other night, going into double overtime. There was almost, I think there was 83 or 84 shots in the game.
It is. Let me tell you something. Overtime. There is nothing like overtime hockey. There really isn't.
And then there's all the more so there's nothing like overtime hockey in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, pretty much. It's one of those. It is one of those situations where if you've never been to a playoff hockey game, it's worth going because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe one day I'll get to go.
Well, hey, the with the Avs doing good now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, maybe. No, their tickets aren't exactly cheap, that's for sure.
True.
Yeah, did I tell you about that? Last summer, my dad was in LA, and his brother got them tickets to a Kings game, and spent $100 on each ticket. Got them 3 rows from the ice. Then the next week, they flew out to Toronto, and their brother-in-law got them $100 tickets to the Maple Leafs, and they were on the roof, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, says a lot about hockey in Toronto, but yeah, I'm like, I don't want to know how expensive decent seats were then.
Yeah, and obviously everything goes up in the playoffs. What I pay for for regular season games is I pay about $65 for. Well, yeah, but I'm anywhere between 4 and 5 rows from the glass.
Okay. Still, yeah. I have only a couple times paid for $30 tickets to the Rockies games. Most of the time I just get the $5 rock pile games and go, hey, I'm at the game. I can enjoy it.
Well, you're taking. How do you just go by yourself, or do you actually bring people with you?
Normally it's for a while my sister had partial season tickets, so that was a little different. But then when I go, normally it's with at least one friend. I mean, when the Angels were here a couple years ago, I bought the whole series, and so got tickets, and then my one friend came with me.
You know how often I have people going with me to hockey games?
All the time?
Very rarely.
Oh, okay. Very
rarely.
Yeah.
I normally just go by myself.
Gotcha.
I'm kind of weird because I like. I mean, I don't mind going to hockey games by myself.
Yeah. But I don't know. At the same time, then I don't think really twice about spending the $40 per ticket for the 40s ball or for the Nutcracker Ballet.
Yeah, you know something. I would totally spend $40 to go to the Nutcracker Ballet.
I think. Well, I get discounts now since I've been going for 3 years in a row. So like it was like $30 a ticket, and each year I've gotten several friends to go with me. So like this last year there was 4 of us went. But this next Saturday the ball.
I am a big fan of. Believe it or not, I am a big fan of the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
I go see it every year, so.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's been doing that 3 years. Yeah.
Well, see, I remember going to the Nutcracker at the age of 10.
Yeah, no. And like I said, and then this year, the 40s ball is this coming Saturday. That'll be the 3rd year of that for me. Be excited for that, because that'll be good fun. They've been adding a lot of stuff this year, and it looks really good. They even have, last year they had this Code Breakers booth, and you could look at all the equipment. Well, they found a surviving code breaker from World War II, and he's going to be there explaining it this year. I'm like, they could have anyone explain it, but having someone that actually used it during the war to explain it just is all the more awesome. Yeah. No, there's all kinds of stuff this year. I'm very excited to go. Got 4 of us going this year. It'll be a great time. Yeah. Let's see.
One of the things that I'm actually kind of amused by, and I'm sure you're amused by this too, because of how often you look at about how often you watch TV, are the people going insane over Orange Is the New Black?
I've heard good things about that show.
I have too.
I don't know. It's a Netflix exclusive, I think. So
yes, it is.
Yeah, I just haven't watched it. I think I'm going to be having to this next season, though. The person I'm dating, she's a little bit into it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So, I might end up watching it. Yeah. So I may end up watching that. Somehow,
I'm happy that I am happy that Longmire is about to come back. Although I have to catch up on the 2nd season.
I was just looking on Netflix and the stuff that's new episodes, and that was right next to Orange Is the New Black. I was like, what is that?
What, Longmire?
Yeah, I'm reading the synopsis right now. Yeah. I've been watching The Finder right now. That's my current Netflix show, because that one's pretty fun. And you have Michael Clark Duncan in it, too. And then every once in a while you have guest stars from Bones. So that makes it entertaining.
Oh, yeah, that was the spin-off. That was the failed spin-off.
Did it fail? That makes me sad. I enjoyed it greatly. Thanks for ruining it for me. I would have found out here in a couple days or weeks when I got the last one and been like, okay, when's season 2 coming out?
Well,
Never.
You know Michael Clark Duncan is...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah, he definitely was one of my favorite characters, and he's a great character in the Finder. But yeah,
Yeah. Like, one of the strange things about that was, it was, it was canceled, and then, like, a few months later, Michael Clark Duncan died.
yeah. I think I'll always remember him from as Frankie Figs in The Whole Nine Yards.
Yes. Oh, that's such an underrated film.
Yeah, the sequel's not actually that bad either.
I haven't seen it yet.
The Whole 10 Yards, yeah, it's not bad. The 9 Yards is definitely better, but it was not a bad sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, the surprising thing to me is Sherlock came out last week, series 3, and I still haven't got into it. Actually, I've been too busy to watch anything lately. Maybe this Wednesday I'll just spend 4 hours and watch all of the series 3. That's gonna be the most annoying thing with that. As good as Sherlock is, each series is only 3 episodes, so it's kind of like really all too easy to just finish completely when it hits Netflix, and then have to wait another year and a half, 2 years, depending when Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman are both available again.
Yeah.
Not to mention Stephen Moffat, their writer.
Yeah. To interrupt, very happy to hear that James Woods is okay. He suffered a health scare at the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas today. He's chilling out at the ER right now, so very happy that he is all right. Apparently had some people are saying that it was a heart issue. Others aren't sure, but thankfully he is okay. A very underrated actor, and it really disappointed me when Shark was canceled because the writers went on strike.
That writer's strike screwed a lot of things.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shows that got hurt or destroyed by that stupid strike.
Yeah, although I think some of their complaints made sense.
Yeah, no, but it was just
except
sad
for they didn't
to see stuff
accomplish
go.
anything.
No. Yeah, this is mostly just sad to see everything got hurt by it. But I mean, it is what it is at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, how long ago was that?
Gosh, 2004, 2005.
10 years ago.
No. I'm sorry. I think it was 2000. Hang on.
Writer's strike, 2007-08.
Okay.
So, yeah, still a while ago, but and we're still great.
Still a while ago, yeah. I mean
that in the baseball strike.
I mean, yeah, that screwed with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, Battlestar Galactica got screwed up because of the writer's strike. Pushing Daisies got canceled, I think, because of the writing strike. Scrubs, I think, had issues. Life had issues. Let's see. Yeah, those were the Friday Night Lights. I think had some issues happen.
I know Chuck did. That was the one I watched. The only thing I was watching at the time was Chuck, and that got screwed by it. It never did recover. Fully, anyways.
Well, Adam Baldwin, can only save so much.
Yeah. Well, and Zachary Levi and Yvonne Strahovski. It was a good, strong cast, but yeah. For some reason, writers help make a TV show work.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that?
Right?
Unless you're like, the kind of show where you just kind of sit there and go, okay, this is the idea that we have, this is how much time you have, go improv.
Yeah. Though there's times probably now that a lot of people wish Stephen Moffat would go on strike.
Who's that?
He's writes the Sherlock,
Moffat,
but he writes
from Moffat from
Doctor Who and
right.
all kinds of stuff. But yeah, he tends to kill off people that people like.
Well, that's what you do. You do kind of tug at your folks as much as you can.
Yeah, right in the feels.
Well, that's a successful writer will do that.
Yeah.
A successful writer will definitely do that. So.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that shows that you're doing a good job if you're able to get people, really kind of, you get them carried and then you just rip their hearts out.
Yeah. When people are complaining about you being the writer, when you're doing such a good job that people are complaining about how good job you're doing something right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's really a complaint. I'm sure people want them, strung up and smacked upside the head. But hey, if you're doing a good job, you're doing a good job.
Yeah. It's the big sports news. Well, some of the big news. You had the French Open in tennis, and Rafael Nadal, won his 9th French Open, continuing his mastery of the clay court. And then,
which means a happy Mary Chastain.
Yes, and why am I totally blank on her name?
Mariah Sharapova won.
Yes, I'm like, yes, she won as well yesterday, the women's. But yeah, and then I don't know if anyone was watching the Oakland A's and Orioles play today. I got to see parts of it while I was at work, but you had someone get caught stealing home. Then the Oakland A's batter hit a grand slam, got called back because it hit the line instead of went past the line. Mm-hmm. And then the next batter, two batters later, he hits a grand slam for real, and they out of the park, so they couldn't call that one back. And then, later in the game, an Orioles batter loses his bat after he swung at a pitch, and it almost hits the third baseman and the umpire out there. And it was like a lot of stuff going on in that game. They actually ejected that batter because they said the refs felt he purposely let go of the bat. Yes.
Yeah, I've paid attention to only a couple of games this year because I'm still on break from the Texas Rangers. I am boycotting them for at least a season.
Well, you can always cheer for the Astros.
No. No, actually, I'm not. No, I'm on break from them. It's not a boycott. I'm just not going to any of your games this year. So it's an unofficial boycott.
It sounds like a boycott. You're boycotting the stadium, at least.
This is what happens. Is when you when you force Nolan Ryan to resign. You're going to have backlash.
Yeah.
And there is such thing as karma. And the Rangers, I think, have most of their starting lineup on the DL this season.
Which sucks. For them.
I'm just sitting there going, well, I guess y'all got a little cursed there. You don't make Nolan mad.
No. I mean, only one of, if not the greatest living pitcher.
Yeah, I'd say he's the greatest living pitcher. I'm biased though, but
well, yeah. I mean, he was. There's others that are good, but I mean, I don't think there's anyone else living that is or was as good as he was.
He's also a big Ron Paul fan, believe it or not.
Oh, never mind.
He helped keep Paul in Congress by endorsing him about a decade or so ago. Because Paul's his congressman, or Paul was his congressman in Alvin. So, I mean, I got no problem with that. I take it you're not on the Paul train.
Nope. I'm a little too pro-military to be friends with him. But yeah.
Speaking of military, I'm a little curious about what you think about this entire Bergdahl situation.
Yeah, because we talked about it a little bit last time, but after looking at it, I'm like, well, his entire unit says he deserted. So either his entire unit decided they just don't like him, or he's a deserter. I love the comments that he can't talk to the press because he forgot English during captivity. I really enjoyed. I'm having a horrible time with names tonight. I'm Googling real quick. Sorry. Bristol Palin's comments on that. She had a series of tweets and Facebook comments about his inability to speak English, and that's as why he's not being interviewed. I did. I follow her. She's quite entertaining at times, and yeah, she had some really good comments on that.
What I'm kind of curious about what your thoughts. Did you see the tweets that were done by the former guy at the VA and the former, and he's currently at HUD, Brandon Friedman? Did you see these comments?
No, I didn't.
I will read them to you.
Okay.
And if you have to swear in Klingon or in Mass Effect, go right ahead. Comment 1. This is a 5-part comment. Here's the thing about Bergdahl and the jump to conclusions mats. What if his platoon was long on psychopaths and short on leadership? What if he grew disillusioned with what he saw, didn't trust his leadership, and walked off? Legal? No. Worthy of sympathy? Maybe. If that were the case, the soldiers in his platoon would have all the more reason to smear him publicly now. Given other examples, it's not out of the realm of possibility and more reason to withhold judgment until after an investigation. I'm not a fan of such speculation, but this story could not be more unbalanced with so many premature calls of traitor.
Is it premature when it happened 5 years ago?
I don't know.
I'm just... Yeah. I mean, when we were talking about last week, and like I said, and then I hadn't had a chance to look at anything, and now I'm just like, and then after what, the stuff his dad said and continued to say, I'm just kind of, can we trade him back? Send his dad with him?
This is my issue with this. Obviously, yes, it's true. You don't want to jump to conclusions, but at the same time, there is evidence which really suggests that Bergdahl walked off. At the same time, the fact that the defense that the White House and their allies have been doing is so ridiculous and so inane and makes no sense whatsoever. The White House has a bit of a problem here.
Yet another problem. Yet another problem arising out of their attempt to get out of a problem by distracting people.
Yeah.
I mean, it distracted people from the VA scandal because it became a big scandal on its own.
Yeah. Yeah, but everybody is talking Bergdahl.
Yes.
And so they accomplished the goal at the moment. The problem is they may have made it worse.
One more scandal.
Yeah. I mean, this is...
And this one with direct proof that it was an illegal move.
Yeah, I mean, they said the law. I mean, yeah, and the administration has been like, yeah, we broke the law, and no, we don't care.
Yeah,
and I loved the AP tweet, which again shows that it makes zero sense. That the administration's defense is just they're trying to do whatever they can. Which was sources. Congress wasn't told about Bergdahl deal because Taliban threatened to kill him. There's just one problem, though. If that was the case, then why did John McCain go on CNN in February and discuss it?
You know, John McCain, they can't control him or something. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but it wasn't that he just brought it up. He was asked by Anderson Cooper about it.
Yeah. So Anderson knew about it.
And that meant that a lot of other people knew about it. And I mean, and I guess one of the things that I still haven't been able to figure out is if people were wondering about his disappearance 5 years ago, then why are they acting in shock now? Wait, he was what?
Because their attention span is shorter than 2 days. So how are they? So they don't think people will be paying attention in 5 years.
Yeah, but folks like McCain and Ayotte really should know better.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, but they're shocked every time someone, not to start this argument again, but to use it as, they're shocked every time that someone finds an article back from when Obama was running for Senate and the article is glorifying this brave Kenyan lad. It's like, but they're shocked every time those come up. Ever since this administration's been elected, they've been shocked by everything that happens around them. Benghazi being a good example, too. That was shocking to them. There were Americans in Benghazi? Who put them there?
We had people doing stuff? What?
Yeah. Well... Yeah, no. There's just another thing where they tried to do something they thought was brilliant, and another example of them just going, the people are smarter than us. What? How is this possible? They talk to each other and read stuff and remember stuff. It's inconceivable for them, as they prove time and time again. And just continues to show the ineptitude of this administration.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how about we take that break? And it's at the half hour, and then get to the plan stuff.
Sounds like a plan.
All
So
right.
we'll be right back after this. This is Next with Jonathan Sangster. He's Jonathan Sangster. I'm Taylor. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Hi, this is Matt Lewis from the Daily Caller, and you are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
My name is Dustin Hoyt from America Our Way, and you can hear me and lots of great other original shows right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
Mr. President, members of Congress, you've been making a lot of noise about taking our guns away. But you might want to review history. 1835, Gonzales, Texas Territory. The authorities wanted to confiscate the big gun that protected that colony. You know what the people said? Come and take it. Because they were willing to fight for their freedom and their guns. So are we.
Come and take it if you want it. Come and take it if you think you can. Come and take it, but I warn you, you'll have to pry it from my cold dead hands. We want the freedom that God gave us, so you best not cross that line. If you want this gun, you gotta come through us and take it.
One shot at a time. Just like Gonzales, we're keeping our guns.
Hi, this is Mike Grell, creator of John Sable Freelance, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
All right, welcome back, everyone. This is Next with Jonathan Sangster and myself and producer Taylor.
Yo, yo.
So a couple things I want to touch. We had, if you're in Colorado, you knew there was tornado activity today. Like there has been for the last few days. However, this one came with some surprises as a very visible tornado was spotted near Fairplay in South Park, while there was no warning, let alone watch or anything in effect at the time. So a lot of people went from upset that their phones bugged them when they didn't care to going, there's a tornado and no one warned me. But yeah, and the pictures it was on the ground for a few minutes and no real damage from it, but there's a fully formed tornado running around on the ground, and the weather service totally failed to even send out any kind of warning about it. So we'll see what happens there with that. They'll definitely have to pay attention to that one. It's in a place where they don't often have them, too. It's in the mountains, a little further if you're not familiar with it, but
it was interesting. There was a story that I saw here in Dallas where the Weather Service Union was like, yeah, they're purposefully not filling jobs that are open, and at some point it's going to hurt us. Now I listen to unions about as much as I listen to I listen to unions about as much as I listen to
Dead Silence,
Lady Gaga. But what does that say? Again, it shows this is again my opinion, and I'm taking over your show, and I apologize. My opinion when it comes to this situation. Yeah, this is the problem with just doing slashing cuts instead of sitting there doing an audit and then cutting stuff that you find from the audit.
True. Yeah. No. But yeah, it's a scary thing. I mean, when we've had a lot of tornadoes lately, and if this one had it been doing damage, there'd be a whole lot bigger implications from it. But just the thought there was a tornado, and the only reason people knew is everyone was taking pictures with their cameras and cell phones, and not far from town. But, let's see, we had the surprise on Monday was King Juan Carlos abdicating the Spanish throne for his due to health problems he's been having over the last few years. His son, Crown Prince Felipe, is 45 and had been taking over more of the duties, but he become the next king. Though many Spaniards have taken the opportunity to call for the end of the practically entirely ceremonial monarchy. But at this point, it doesn't look like that will actually happen. But yes, it did catch people surprise when he resigned. Let's see. We did have this last week in Moncton, in New Brunswick, Canada, is 27-year-old shot and killed 3 officers and wounded 2 more while waving away civilians who attempted to aid them, so clearly targeting cops.
We had the situation in Las Vegas today.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that. Yeah, this guy in Moncton, he was, after the shootings, disappeared for about 30 hours, and pretty much the city was on lockdown while police searched for him. And then they found him without incident in a wooded area, and he surrendered. And then today we had the Vegas incident. 2 police officers and a civilian killed at a Walmart. They're calling it an ambush on them.
Yeah, the cops were apparently just sitting there eating pizza.
Yeah, it was a CC's Pizza. A woman was killed at Walmart. The civilian was killed at Walmart.
I don't get stuff like that. I really don't.
I mean, people just walking up. But
and of course, you know what the answer is going to be. You know what the problem is.
Guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this guy that was in Moncton in New Brunswick, he had a high-powered rifle. They didn't release what kind of rifle, but a high-powered rifle, a crossbow, and knives. So part of me wants to give him props. He was carrying a crossbow. That's awesome. But, dude, wrong thing to be doing it for. But, yeah, definitely not a good thing to be doing. But he definitely, so it wasn't just guns with that guy. I mean, that's what he used, but he was ready to use other stuff too, clearly. Why he stopped for one minute. Then last night, for the second time in 15 months, inmates broke out of a Quebec jail by helicopter.
Wait, what?
Yes, last night, Saturday night at near Quebec City, a helicopter landed in the courtyard of a prison, and 3 men escaped by hijacking the helicopter.
Okay.
And then the same thing happened at a different prison in March of 2013, where a helicopter landed and was hijacked by the prisoners, and the prisoners escaped. At this point, they haven't been captured, but it's reported that they're linked to the Hells Angels, all 3 of the inmates.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, and they haven't figured out exactly what happened yet for this one, but the one from March of last year, the 2 inmates had managed to book the helicopter for a sightseeing flight. The helicopter showed up not really, and somehow wasn't confused by landing in a prison, and then was hijacked at gunpoint.
Yeah, that is kind of weird.
But yeah, twice in 15 months, and both in Quebec.
Oh,
So,
Quebecers.
you know, how do you break out of jail most places? You know, get over the wall, get under the wall. How do you break out of prison in Quebec? By helicopter.
Hey, you gotta do
Whatever
it somehow.
works, right? But yes, then Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi was officially sworn in as president of Egypt. The former military chief had been the acting head since the coup took place. And then in Pakistan, we had a massive attack on the airport in Karachi. At least 13 dead. Mixed reports about whether the fighting is still ongoing. And of course, in Ukraine, the ever-growing fighting between the government's forces and the separatists in the east part of the country continues. Did have this last week here in town, actually in Aurora, not place at a place I drive by a couple times a week. At talk about Hampton and Tower. There was a shooting after involving an argument, and a teenager was killed, and the police are offering reward information on the arrest there. It was kind of, I tweeted and commented on Facebook, you know, how it brings it more to home every time it's somewhere, or not just but somewhere I go by often. I mean, shootings are always tragic, but when they're somewhere you know well, I mean, in that case, I had driven past there like half an hour, 20 minutes or so before this shooting happened.
The closest I've ever come to a shooting, well, outside of occasionally being 13, and there was a shooting behind my home.
Yeah.
Was when I was living in Seattle, and one night, shots started, like shots were fired a couple of like a block from my place. And when my cousin and I were walking to get something else, it was pretty. We could see the glass on the ground.
Yeah. Remember when it was in Phoenix, like the neighborhood that school was in wasn't the best, and there was all kinds of shootings in the neighborhood around it. And working security for the campus, we, saw some. Definitely wasn't involved in any, but yeah. We were and in this story, we were talking a bit about before the show, because when I was writing about this missing person, I just couldn't help but bring it up to you. It was 59-year-old woman is missing in Portland. When police went to search her home, it ended up with the Special Emergency Response Team found to quote the police, they found security features which required exceptional safety efforts to safely overcome. And they used tear gas as part of their entrance into the house to ensure she wasn't there. And, I mean, if you follow me on my site, I do a lot of missing persons, and I definitely have not seen anything like that before.
They had to use tear gas.
Apparently. And then there was reports of gunfire by witnesses, but the police have said there was no gunfire. But that's all the information that's been released. But I do like the quote from the police that security features which required exceptional safety efforts to safely overcome were found at the home. So, which, as I said when we were talking before the show, I mean, that almost sounds like this woman had her house booby-trapped.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you know, they're listing her as missing under suspicious circumstances, which could mean also she was kidnapped and someone who kidnapped her booby-trapped her house. But either way, very bizarre, and hopefully whatever is going on in this situation gets resolved without anyone getting hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah. We did have on Wednesday what ended up being a lucky thing is United States Marine Corps Harrier jet crashed in Imperial, California. It was flying out of Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, Arizona, but it crashed in houses. The pilot safely ejected, but 8 homes were damaged, 3 of them destroyed by the plane crash. Yet, miraculously, no one on the ground was hurt by the jet crashing into that many homes.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was like, definitely could have been a very disastrous event. I mean, it's still, you know, damage-wise and money-wise, yes, but no one was even hurt in this incident. I mean, that's, you know, miraculous for sure. And unfortunately, it was an unscathed week for the military. It did have Captain Jason B. Jones, 29, of Orwigsburg, Pennsylvania, died on June 2nd. He was killed in combat in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. It was his second deployment. He was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 3rd Special Forces Group, airborne out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And then Private First Class Matthew H. Walker, 20, of Hillsborough, Missouri, died on June 5th in combat in Paktika Province, Afghanistan. He was assigned to the 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry Regiment, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 101st Airborne Division out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Again, always sad to lose soldiers, but make sure that they're remembered here on the show, which, speaking of which, I mean, this past Monday was Memorial Day. And then we just had the 70th anniversary of D-Day as well, which I know if you do follow Alan, or sometimes producer, but and also the host of, why am I blanking on everything tonight? I am tired, if you can tell. Thank you. Yes, he's been tweeting and Facebooking a lot, and I know he's got a lot planned for tomorrow night's show about
starting
the
an
D-Day.
Hour early.
Yes. Yes, I'm hoping I get to tune in live. If not, I'll definitely be listening to that Wednesday as soon as I get a chance. But yeah, it'll definitely be a great show. And for those of you that follow D-Day stuff and were interested in it, he definitely will have a lot about it.
Yeah.
The other big historic event, very important historic event actually, and kind of ironic with some of the stuff we talked about tonight, but you had on today actually, a few years ago, back in 632 AD, Muhammad died. The Muhammad, who born in 570 AD in Mecca, at 40 claimed he was hearing the voices of angels, and then following what they told him to do, he took parts of Jewish and Christian faiths of the time and added new traditions and doctrines to it, and continued adding and changing it and adding to it, and the foundations of Islam. And he wrote down the revelations from the voices in a book known as the Quran. By 622 AD, he had a substantial following, enough that the city leaders of Mecca grew worried and plotted his assassination. So he fled to Medina, where he was granted a political position and consolidated all the power to himself. By 629, he had enough power. He led an army against Mecca, captured the city, and from then on, the Islamic religion of peace was one of war and conquering. And by the time of his death, June 8, 632, he ruled much of what is now the Middle East, and his missionaries and armies were spreading further every year. And by the time European forces halted the armies in 732 AD, the empire stretched from India to West Africa and part of the Iberian Peninsula, or Spain. But yeah, definitely, I mean, all these years after his death, he's definitely still one of the most influential people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, whatever your thoughts on it, he definitely did a lot to shape the world as we know it.
Yeah.
Probably way beyond his comprehension. But, yeah, definitely. Yeah, one of those figures that endlessly shape things.
Well, yeah. I mean, stuff like that, yeah, it happens.
So, speaking of Obama scandals, there is a new one.
Oh?
Apparently, at the D-Day ceremonies in France...
Yeah, he was chewing gum.
He was chewing gum. Well, yeah, the French did not take kindly to it in the least. And apparently he caused a major incident by chewing gum, which, whatever, as Americans, we kind of have a less caring opinion about gum chewing compared to Europe, but the French are decidedly unhappy about this. And, yeah.
The way he can get around this is by saying that it was Nicorette.
I don't know. The French would understand smoking.
Well, if he's trying to quit.
Yeah, exactly. They would think of him as less of a man for giving up smoking. No, but yeah, but just one more thing for him to deal with. I did find it entertaining.
It's like it's one thing after another. I mean, in that situation though, if he is trying to quit smoking and he had a piece of Nicorette, he should have been a little bit more careful.
Less cow chewing cud looking.
Yeah, there are ways to chew gum and it not look like you're chewing gum.
Yeah, and he definitely failed at that. But let's see. So that's about all. That's I guess so. We had the California Chrome. Did you hear about that? California Chrome, he didn't win the Triple Crown.
Right.
Well, and his owner went on this rant about how it was cheating for the other horses to have won because they hadn't raced in the other two races, so they shouldn't have been allowed to. Even though each of the races is an individual event, it's just if you do win all three, you win the Triple Crown. It's kind of like the Grand Slam in tennis. You can win each of the Opens, but if you manage to win all four, you get the special award.
Yeah.
and that's kind of how the Triple Crown is. Well, he was even compared. I caught part of the interview on ESPN today, and he even compared it to California Chrome as the star basketball player up against a handicapped kid, and that, of course, he would do better, but you have to play fair or some stuff, while he was complaining about them being involved. It was a beyond ridiculous interview, and rightfully so, was getting a lot of crap for his comments. But I saw them talking to owners of other horses that in the past have had chances at Triple Crowns but not won because of the same situation happening, where a fresh horse wins the third race, and them going, it's just part of how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a big thing. I mean, we were talking about that last week, how many decades it's been since a horse won all three.
Yeah.
But, and, I liked the one guy's comment about it was, well, they say to be a good winner, you have to be able to be a good loser. And clearly he's not a good loser.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That was, I'm definitely would have been something for a horse to have done it, but if that's how his owner is, I'm kind of totally okay with the horse not making it.
You're asking the wrong person. You know how many of those races I watched?
Probably one fewer than I did.
Yes.
Because I watched the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah.
Just because I was, paying attention. I'm like, okay, I'll watch and I waited the 8 hours for the 3 seconds of racing. But, no. I mean, I kind of would like to see a horse do it, but when I do it, I want it to be an owner who's all, a good person, not someone you can tell is a jerk.
Well, he was probably mad and a little over emotional, and
Well, he gave the interview almost a day later.
He's probably a little mad, a little emotional.
But, yeah. Well, so next week we're not here.
You are taking because it's Father's Day, correct?
Yes, you're on vacation. So is Alan, and I will be at work because, go figure, working a barbecue restaurant. Father's Day is a big day for it. But yeah, so I'll be at work. So in 2 weeks, so the 22nd, we'll be back.
All right.
Right.
So there we go.
And what's going on Vigilant Radio this week?
Well, don't forget we have Alan Bordius tomorrow. Special start time at 9 p.m. Eastern for their finest hour. On Tuesday, it is the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty. I'm probably crashing that because I'm on vacation. Wednesday, Modern Comments, barring technical difficulties like we had last time, at 9 p.m., followed by the Right War, the simulcast of the Right War. On Thursday, America Our Way with Dustin Hoyt at 9 p.m., then the Right War at 10 p.m., and obviously it is going to, on Friday, the Conservative Feminist Show, the Conservative Feminist Show with Liz Harrison, Missy Bordius, and Mariah Joven. And Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. Cool. So there you go. That's what's going on. So say goodnight, Jonathan.
All right, y'all have a good night. We'll catch you in 2 weeks. And we'll then wish Taylor a happy and joyous, peaceful vacation.
Sounds like a plan. Good night, folks.
Y'all have a good night.
This show is copyright by VLR Media. All opinions of panelists and guests are their own and may not reflect the opinion of VLR Media, the host, or anyone else.